Hi friends, welcome to my channel. My name's Fiddle. For today's project, we're going to be finishing up the second floor with an outhouse style toilet. It's for this tiny room right here, and really hard to get a picture of when it's inside the house. As always, don't forget to check the link in the description. That will take you to the Scavenger Hunt where you can find the list of materials and a free printable pattern so you can make this toilet along with me. Okay, are you ready? Let's go. The first thing we're going to do is trace our pattern onto our material. I'm using double layer chipboard for the main body and wood for the toilet lid and trim. But this would be a good project for wood if you wanted to go that way. Okay, once you've got all of your pieces cut out, if you wanted to add a trim around anything, this would be a good time to measure it before it's all put together. I put trim on all of the edges on mine. Okay, now that we've got all the trim cut, we can start putting everything together. Starting with the front bottom and the seat. You could also glue one of the sides on to help support this piece, but my brain wasn't thinking like that, so I used a container to help hold it up. And while that's drying, we can move on to the seat. For this, I used a pretty decently thick piece of wood and my easy cutter to cut it out. Once you have your toilet seat cut out, go ahead and give it a good sanding and round over the top edge. Okay, the next thing we need to do is make the back portion of the toilet a little bit thicker so we can drill straight through. I used the same piece of wood that I used to cut the toilet out of, so it was the same thickness. Then glue it in place. We'll come back to it later when it's dry. But while I was waiting for mine to dry, I wanted to see if I would like the trim on it, so I put a test strip on. And I did like it, but you can wait until later on once the piece is built to put your trim on. And at this point, I hadn't decided if I wanted to put sides on it or not, because it does go from wall to wall and they really wouldn't be visually necessary, but I did do it for the structure. Once the toilet lid is dry, sand it into shape. Now that we've got it all even, we can drill the hole straight through. This will be for the piece of wire that's going to attach it to the rest of the toilet. Okay, now we can move on to bending our wire so we can attach the toilet lid. I'm not sure I'd be able to explain it the right way, so I made some illustrations to hopefully help you figure out which way you need to bend the wire. But all of the bends will be 45-degree angles. Once you have both the bends made on the end, string the lid on, then as close as you can to the lid, create the bends on the other side. Trim off the excess, and now we're ready to start installing it. First, set the lid on top of the toilet and mark where the prongs would be going through. Then use a hand drill to drill the holes. Next, push the wire through the holes. You may have to use a pair of pliers. Once you have the wire through, bend the ends outwards. Now that our lid is attached, we can put the sides on. It's a lot easier to put the toilet seat on without the walls in the way. And finally, the backrest. Now with everything put together, we can add on the trim. And finally, it's on to painting. I went with a mixture of browns and tried to keep them a bit separate so there's a lot of variation in it. I wanted to keep this piece simple because I really wasn't sure what to do with this room to begin with because it was so small and strange, but with the house being over a cliff, I thought this was a perfect spot for it. And with that, it brings us to the end of our tutorial. The next one will be cutting out the walls for the third floor and possibly doing the wallpaper and flooring. If you haven't already, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, Ginger, and I'll see you next time.